welcome back to The Watch. And we've found evidence, or evidence has been revealed as to some of the inclinations we've had in the past about changes in video games that we've been a bit...
Evidence? I mean, they say it's like their mission statement, right?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, okay, I'm trying to start the video here, guys, all right?
But there's stuff we need to kind of front load.
All right, sure, front load it then, Shad.
Because, all right, there are activists who want to remake everything in their own vision, right? They've been trying to do it for ages, and one of these activist groups, it's not the only one, has been exposed recently, called Sweet Baby Inc. And they have been a consulting group to help game developers, companies and stuff, make games that are more inclusive. That's the term, right? But what it really means is filled with propaganda, racist propaganda oftentimes, and so many other things, ruining story, plot, like heaps of stuff. And so what happened recently is it was found out that they were one of the main consultants for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. You remember that game, don't you, Tyrant?
I remember it.
Yeah.
And I've seen the other games that they've worked on.
And it turns out that there's a lot of other games that they've worked on, isn't there?
Well, there's not a lot, but it's interesting.
I would call it a lot.
It's interesting. Well, yes.
More than one is too much.
It's more interesting which games have been worked on. That's what's interesting to me, yes.
Saints Row.
Yeah. They also did God of War Ragnarok, Alan Wake, and there's some other ones. Miles Morales, the Spider-Man
one.
The new Fable game as well. They've also had some inclusion in.
Yep. And we've been wondering why are all the women so ugly, and why is Spider-Man getting pushed to the sidelines, and why are there just these propagandistic messages about patriarchy and oppression, and why was Saints Row the most hellish piece of crap game ever made?
They closed a studio.
Right?
That's how bad it was.
Here's one of the reasons. A big reason. By the way, like Sweet Baby Inc., Short Fat Otaku, Dev, he did an interview with one of the people who worked on the Saints Row game and gave him some inside information about it. And what happened is the Sweet Baby Inc. activist writer had complete control.
Right.
No other writers could challenge anything that this consultant. So they were a lead writer, basically, the lead writer. And then the question was, how did the people, making the game not be aware of it? And it's basically because so many, especially the ones, there's the example here, but then it reflects to other, game companies. They do want to make money. They just have no friggin' idea what they're doing. They don't know what makes money. They don't know what works. And so you have these, consultancy groups that come along and say, hey, you want to know what sells? Diversity sells. And and then they get hooked in, baited, and they get control, and then they end up making the most apocalyptically bad games.
Now, what kicked this all off, correct me if I'm wrong, Shad, I think you know more about this than me, is that somebody created a curated Steam list.
Yes, so what happened is after it was reported that, especially the Suicide Squad thing, a lot of Sweet Baby Inc.'s hands could be seen all over that thing. Like the hypocrisy about, Harlequin, it's objectifying for her to wear a sexy outfit, but then she will literally grab a guy's ass against his consent and grope him, sexually assault him because she's a woman, and, it's all about revenge. They can be sexist, but, dare have a sexy woman in it. That's like, and so they were getting blamed for a lot. And then that caused, his name is Cabrutus, an individual to actually, all right, let's curate and just list all the games that they've had a hand in. What's really odd about this is he basically just took the information from their website. Yeah. They published it. It's there, right?
Right.
But then, he made a Steam thing showing where it's on, and people latched on to like, okay, this is a great list of what not to buy, thank you. Yeah. And even though Cabruta says that, look, I didn't make it to try and tell people not to buy, he said, I didn't tell people not to buy it, but we know that's why he made it, and I think he's.
I don't see the problem with that at all. I
me
mean,
me neither.
Like creating a list of things where it's like you choose whether you want to buy it or not. I don't see the issue here from both sides. If you're on the left, then you don't want to buy, I don't know, guns or whatever. Sure, go for it.
Yeah.
That's your personal decision.
So-
Nobody's going to.
So why would Sweet Baby Inc. have an issue with that?
I don't know.
Well, I think it's because they know what they do is despised by the gaming community, and they didn't want to be exposed. And even though they publish it on their website, who in the gaming community is going to freaking go to their website because they're trash and we don't want to have anything to do with them? But we're all on Steam,
Yeah.
aren't we? And so now that this is on Steam, that was affecting their reputation, and of course, it's like if there is any collaboration with people, not just Sweet Baby Inc., they're not the only ones doing it, right? Not like, yeah, I'll never look at that game twice, right? I wonder if they had any help with Baldur's Gate. It wouldn't surprise me.
I thought you liked that.
I do. Maybe
I'm pretty sure they did. Most AAA games, they've had some hand in as well. But I also saw, so there was 2 groups on Steam. One was against, and one was actually their group as well. And the stuff that their group was saying was also very, how should we say, neckbeards and right-wing conservatives shouldn't be playing video games because it's not your space. There shouldn't be any conservative game developers because
Nathan,
game developers aren't conservative.
I've always wanted to say this, but Nathan, as a conservative game developer, what do you think about this?
Well, I'll tell you this much. I feel like I'm a minority in those group settings because there's not many, and all the conservatives were very hush-hush. In many ways, I would say, and I hate using this term, closeted in... I was
we have a video on that, Nathan.
We do, but it's a controversial opinion to say in those spaces.
Yeah, when a conservative comes out of the closet, they want you to back in. My direct experiences with that. I came out of the closet as a conservative, and suddenly my content hasn't changed. All right, the things I make hasn't changed, but people have an issue with me now all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yes, but I think it's more of just the terms of culture wars and things swinging back and forth. If you went back 20 years, it would have been very different to now. And you would have issue with things that they obviously bring up, but then they're bringing it now to the extreme other side where we kind of want an equal ground where everyone can make the games they want without having to feel like, or feared, like we're saying in these tactics here, they're making companies afraid of these certain words and things. I went to one of these talks in the 2010s. Much more different. It was like, hey, when you write Arabic letters, maybe make sure it actually makes sense. It isn't just because that's kind of insensitive and it adds more to your story and character. When you
see that last bit, that's the answer. Insensitive. Don't give a crap.
well, it's like if you're making a world,
okay,
put more effort.
When I say of course. There is a level of sensitivity you should have, but when you're making a fantasy game and stuff like that, the fact that maybe it's not written in the language,
that's different.
For someone to get offended by that, who gives a crap?
It's not so much offense, Shad, but it's like if you're making a Battlefield game and you're in an Arabic country, maybe have the actual Arabic words mean something because you want to be...
Rather than just stuff
like that where it's like, that's fine. When they talk about accessibility...
On a separate note, have you ever heard people who don't speak English pretend to
speak English?
Make gibberish English? It's hilarious because English, pretend they're speaking Chinese and they're just making up gobbledygook. It is hilarious in reverse.
It's great. So it's like things like that. It's like, yes, I want my games to feel more real in that aspect, but then they bring in other things which clearly are like, okay, as a white straight male now, I can't have input on something because of my identity. That's when it's across the line.
Sexist and racist, but you feel like a minority and you're not allowed to.
I think that
speak in
scary. Not scary. Well, yeah, it was the scariest. The most disconcerting thing I saw was at an event where a bunch of small indie devs were making an Aussie game about a rural town. And they're all students, they're all broke, they have no money, and they're working hard to make this game. And they're sharing it, everyone loves it, and then one person raises their hand and says, did you have any local, First Nations people, Aboriginals, talk about this? Because, you're in Australia, you should have people who consult for it. And they said, no, we haven't. They said, well, then you're whitewashing this game. And my response to that is, have you ever gotten someone to consult for you? Have you looked at their fees? these are broke indie devs who are just
Yeah.
trying to make games, and then you want because the thing is, well,
At the type of consultants you'd get a friggin' apocalyptic
But that's the
activist
thing.
that want to.
They're not making the game. They're just consulting. Do you know what consultants do? They talk to you about stuff, and then you hope that what they say will actually turn out right. Like, it's what I would call like middling. It's like you're not actually making the game, you're not contributing to it, you're just making changes. Like I don't want to say it's lazy, because consulting in a way can be good, but
Yes,
this is
this
just...
type of consulting is about, like, there are some actual good consulting. Like I'm currently working on a graphic novel script. Okay, once I finish it, I need to find a consultant who is really familiar with the time period. I need a historical consultant that is familiar with not only 1910. I need 1910 historical speech patterns of New York in 1910.
Like, that makes sense to have consultancy in
To
there.
have colloquialisms, verbiage, and stuff like that that is more authentic to the... So yes, that's the type of consulting you want. I will be doing that myself, right? Getting one, but this type of consulting... And the type
Are we
of
going to watch
consulting
this
that...
video? I haven't watched this
We'll get
yet.
to it. It's really short, so this is the cherry on the cake, right? But the type of consulting that they seems to be implying that they need for the game is useless.
It is.
If these are Aussie guys... Right,
Making
a
a game
game about
an Aussie
the
town
Aussie
that they've lived in,
outback that they've lived in. Where can you find a great more expertise than that? But no, you need a First Nation person. What if there was no Aboriginal people or tribes in the area that has any relevance? But no, you need the diversity.
That's
because
what I mean.
diversity,
And
right?
and the thing is, when the question was asked, everyone in the room went quiet, and it was very fearful. They didn't want to offend the person, but you also don't want to speak out against them, because they're going to rampage.
Exactly. Well, that's their weapon. Outrage and the cancel mob. The heartening thing about the Sweet Baby Inc. thing is that this time it didn't work.
No.
This is rallying, this is encouraging, and this is the feedback and results. And so what happened is, after this guy made the Facebook page, one of the employees of Sweet Baby Inc. tried to get it taken down. He was like, report this, everyone get it and report it, and everything like that.
For the curated Steam list.
For the curated Steam list.
But why?
Because it was claiming like it was
I know
creating
why.
targeted harassment against their games. Thing is, though, they responded with real targeted harassment.
Yes.
And
There's such bad optics on this.
I know.
Just like, you're taking down... Like, imagine having like an Amazon wish list, and it has to be taken down because it's offensive. It's like, you're just giving people a choice.
yes, see, this is the
Giving
thing.
people a choice.
People have already been woken up to what's actually happening here. And that was the original term of woke, being like aware and stuff. It was like, now people are aware of the woke activists and everything. And back in Gamergate, where, it's like sexism in gaming and stuff like that, and they fooled a lot of people, especially game developers and stuff, to get them on board with all this crap. A lot of the gamers are like, get stuffed, okay? But now even more people are aware of this, right? And so they tried to get the, hate mob after this Steam curated list to get it taken down, which was actual targeted harassment, and now it's at like over 140,000 like subscribers. So they Streisand this thing to the stratosphere. Look, we're making a video on it. Heaps of other people have made videos on it. They're all aware. Guys, go to the Steam list, subscribe to the Steam list, so you can be aware of what types of toxic involvement Sweet Baby Inc. has had involvement in. To get the message through, you vote with your wallets. If any game is going down this path, we're not on board, right? And by the way, the cherry, there's a couple of cherries on top. The employee that tried to get this taken down got not fully banned, but like week suspension on Twitter for harassment.
Yeah.
Like that's a sign that yes, times have changed. Okay, you do not have the power anymore, and people are not going to put up with your crap. You tried to target something with a hate mob, and instead it got massive support. Okay, and so many, not all of them, but a lot of the games that Sweet Baby Inc. has had involvement in have failed dramatically. And look, primarily it's because they were awful games. But people are getting so fed up with it that even if there's a good game that might come along, if it has their crap in it, like this is why I haven't even given a second look to Spider-Man 2, right? It has all that crap in it. I don't want any involvement with it, right?
Does it, Nathan? You've played
I played it. It's a good game. but you
But
can
it has
tell
that
you can
stuff.
tell where the story is going to lead.
Yeah, it's made to sideline Peter Parker. They've made Mary Jane really ugly. They've made Miles Morales a super OP, and Miles could be a good character, but now he's just, he's this chosen one. And then they also have propaganda spewed all over or anything like that.
Nathan?
I'm just saying, like, the ending of the game is very, okay, I'll play Spider-Man 2, but number 3, I'm probably going to miss. Because it's just the ending of it. And same with God of War as well. I feel like
Let's not talk about that.
the next God of War, I think, is going to be
Yeah, I think it's going to be an Atreus game. Yeah, and I'm not going to be happy. Yeah, let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it.
We all know what's going to happen. And so I think the biggest thing that this kind of shows is, one, the insecurity giant developers have for their games. They have no idea what makes a good game anymore. And it's not the developers per se, but the people who are in charge to hire all the people to do the sort of stuff. We have these people here saying, hey, cancel culture is a real threat. You want us to make sure that doesn't happen to you? Hire us.
This is exactly, because this is that's how they operate.
That's how they market
These
themselves,
activists are actually thugs. They work like a protection racket saying, sure would be a bad thing if something awful happened to your game. You don't want the cancel mob to come. Like, there's a tweet by Anita Sarkeesian saying, I'd love to come on and help you with sarcasm because you have had trouble with your representation in the past, right? Hint, hint. Okay? And then if you think we're lying, look at this clip that was dug up by this person, Sweet Baby Inc. I'm not sure if they're the owner, lead, but
it was the co-founder or
something like that. Listen to what they say. So they're talking about how, if you are working for a game developer, how you can ensure getting activists like her hired to consult for them. This is what they say.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
I just find it funny because it's like all these games that have done this sort of stuff, the marketing for them, the memes, the online discourse about it has been 10 times worse because of the decisions
Yes,
they've
that
made.
should be the true, like having any type of person like this, who these activists in any evolving game, that should be what terrifies them. But they have literally been using terror, threats, right, to get involvement in these games. Black and white. That's what she says. She says, tell them what's going to happen if they don't let us involved, and terrify them. That is a threat. That is browbeating. That is a protection racket. That is friggin' criminal crap, really, right? It is disgusting, but that's how they have been operating. They threaten people with cancellation, right? And in the past, they did have some power to affect people like that.
Do you remember
But it's only because people gave them that power. If you ignore them and say, piss off, they can't do a thing.
Do remember this is also a direct financial incentive for this person. This person's like, tell the marketing, threaten them if you have to. What's going to happen? Or what they're going to happen is they're going to hire her.
Yeah, but
that's the whole thing.
There was also more financial incentive as well because of ESG investment. There were investment firms. ESG is the biggest one, but I'm sure there's other ones. So this is like BlackRock, where one of the higher ups in BlackRock literally says we have to people have to relearn behavior. We have to force behavior. That was them saying it. They want to socially engineer society. And one of the ways they did is that we will only give you investment money if you make sure you have these tick boxes in, okay? And there was investment money. That's what Disney's been sailing on for ages, and a lot of these other companies. And ESG, or social governance, something social governance, right? It's all woke propaganda. Make sure you have the right types of diversities in it, and you're pushing against the patriarchy and all that stuff. Okay.
I mean, this is like on
pushing gender theory.
This is
and all
on
this.
government websites. I don't know about it in the US, but for our government, like if we want grants or like filming grants, Nathan.
Oh boy, do you have to do some stuff that you just like? Do I have to? I mean, even how the government works now is like workforce for construction workers, 40% female. What happens when you don't have that amount of people to work on construction?
You have to start hiring people at the bottom of the kind of...
Or the work doesn't get done. Because
Or the
what how will our trail and railroad crossings get built?
Sorry, Nathan's a bit,
I'm triggered because they're doing it near my house and it's been taken...
For like 2 years, and to the point where there's no exits out of your town.
Like, literally.
And it's... actually, I'm going to hold my tongue because
I had to meet them at Nathan's place for an off-site shoot.
Oh,
and
that's...
I got stuck
Oh,
at...
no, it's 4 times worse now.
Because I got stuck at those trade things for like
no.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
No, it's worse now.
It's worse now.
They've closed down all of the roads.
It is
in and out.
convenient I get to work on time because there are no exits safe from the construction workers who are all just lollipop ladies saying, stop.
This is the result. Instead of hiring on merit, pushing for diversity, they can't. And so, ESG though, right? The money is drying up. They're finally starting to feel the pinch. The investment money is drying up, and so they're
Well, these
losing.
companies are starting to feel
Now,
it.
entire companies are going under because of failure. It happened to the Saints Row one. Even the ones that made Suicide Squad, aren't they? Like, isn't there rumor that
Rocksteady,
might
they
kill?
probably
kill
will be. Yeah.
Kill Rocksteady.
Well, they're kind of already dead, but
Like, a good game would have saved him, wouldn't it, Nathan? Right?
And, I mean, the sad thing with this is this affects the whole economy because these bigger games don't do good, then they can't reinvest into stuff. And investing in games a year ago was booming because of COVID. Now, I think locally, at least 18 studios, like ones who have been around for like 28 years, have closed because these bigger games fail, they can't get work, and then because they can't get work, people can't get jobs, because we can't get jobs, then the economy, like, everything collapses because someone wants to have marginalized groups more apparent, like, it's crazy.
And by the way, there was diversity.
effect.
Yeah, this is the thing. There was representation already all throughout media. We almost had like a, if you want true, they don't want actual equal representation. They want over-representation. They want straight white men out of the thing. It's about revenge and supremacy, and that's what their diversity. It's not actual diversity. It's sexism and racism, and they just want straight white men kicked to the curb, right? And it shouldn't matter. It should just be get the best person for the job. But no, that's not it. And so this video is categorical proof. They're thugs, right? They have been pushing a racket, okay? And it is heartening. This is why it's blown up and got so much attention and everything, that this is a very visible, moment where it hasn't worked. Sweet Baby Inc., no gamer wants anything to, like, actual people who are not on board with the woke propaganda crap. And it's shown that the people who are on board with it, they're a tiny minority. They've been revealed and exposed to the tiny minority they've always been. And all that's needed to happen is to ignore them. But because they have, scared people who with positions in power, right? They've gone for their heads, the platforms and stuff. They got way more control and influence than they ever should have had. We're in a sane society, it should have just been, you're crazy. I'm ignoring you. I'm going to go make my cool game. Because the major gaming audience, guess what? They like sexy women. They like masculine action. They like all the classic stuff, right? And now we're seeing the results because get woke, go broke, essentially. It's happening, and it's been encouraging to see. So, sign up to that Facebook page, right? Sorry, not Facebook, the Steam group, and vote with your wallets. If you see Sweet Baby Inc., and if we hear of any other company that's doing the same thing, we'll expose them, right? That's what needs to happen, and send the message that if any company, not just game company, movies and everything, are on board with this crap, ignore it. And we've been seeing it with Marvel movies, seeing it with box office, now we're seeing it with gaming. That's how we win. As always, stay on watch.